Hi, and welcome to Chamber Chat. I'm Danielle McFadden, president of the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce. And this Inside Lowell podcast is brought to you by, I usually have this prepared in my hands, the Wellpoint Studios. Wellpoint, the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At Wellpoint, your whole health is their whole point. I'm very excited to have our guest on with us today. It has been a long time coming for him to come on. We have Adam Schertzer from JMJ Commercial Realty. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me, Danielle.
We finally made it happen.
Yes. Summer's tough.
It is. We were just saying we can't believe how off air, like how fast it's gone by. I know we say that every year, but I don't know. I feel like as the older we get, the older the kids get, the faster it goes.
Definitely.
And you've been so busy.
Yes.
You have a lot going on.
It's been a lot. It's been, and busy in Lowell, which has been great.
That is awesome. Well, you've been very active in the community, which goes to show when you network and you get your name out there.
It's true.
And
in just a short amount of time, in less than 2 years of doing this. But it's been great going to, chamber events, meeting other businesses.
That's great.
Been getting referrals from people and getting business that way. But
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's talk about JMJ so that people who are listening and viewing know what you do.
Yep. So we're a small boutique real estate firm. We just do commercial real estate.
Yeah.
We're based out of Needham, Massachusetts. That's where my broker lives. I live in Chelmsford. So when I came on, I joined him a little less than 2 years ago now. So it's just a two-person operation. So I've been concentrating more up in, this area, Chelmsford, Lowell, Merrimack Valley.
Great.
So one of the first things I did when I joined was join the Greater Lowell Chamber. My broker, Josh, he's a member down at the Charles River Chamber.
They're a great chamber.
And he's done a lot of work with there, a lot of networking. And it was actually his advice. When I came on, he's like, the first thing you got to do, you got to join the local chamber.
I love that advice.
Yeah. So that was great. And that really led to, almost every other networking group that I've done has been probably some type of referral or meeting someone through Greater Lowell. That's like, oh, you got to come check this out, do that, So I, thank you for starting this and getting it all, getting my networking journey started here. Yeah.
And it goes to show you that you can be involved in multiple groups, and every group is going to be different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you'll meet different people. You'll see some of the same people, meet new people.
Definitely. It is interesting to see some of the crossover.
Yes.
Especially, and I'm like, oh, I met you at the Lowell,
Yeah, that's great.
Like, so it is great to see. That. And I feel like I put a lot of time into networking.
You do. It shows. And like you said, you're busy. So,
It's definitely worth it.
Awesome. Yeah. And you said that you've been there for 2 years because prior to that, you had over 20 years experience, SAP. It's SAP, right?
Yes.
Okay. SAP leading customer success.
Yeah.
Wow,
so
that's a little different.
It's very different. It's definitely a pretty good, conversation starter, icebreaker when I meet people.
Sure is.
Especially when I first started doing this. I think I went to a networking event like a few weeks in, and they're like, how long you been doing this? And I was like, 3 weeks,
They're like, what?
And someone who's, middle-aged, and it's like, saying that I made a complete career change.
Yeah.
In the middle of my life. I'd worked for SAP for 22 years, started off in customer service. So, call center, being the front line of that, helping people with software problems and things, getting yelled at, and, how that is. No one likes calling customer service. And then kind of worked up through the company a bit, worked into product support, got some more technical experience, did some work with their communications department. And I kind of assumed that I would have be there for, another 20 years until I'd retire. And it was one of those jobs where, when people say, oh, do you like your job? I was like, I like the people, and the job was fine, but I didn't love it. So I ended up getting laid off. They pretty much closed our whole office in Burlington and outsourced all our jobs to South America and Europe. They didn't tell us that at the time, but then, we saw them hiring in other locations. So one of those things where, we had a lot of seasoned employees, and they just, I think figured that they could save some money, move operations. And of course, at the time I was completely shocked because I'd never been laid off before.
I know that's been so stressful having young kids.
Yeah. And I'm like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So the good thing was that I had got some interest in real estate about 8-9 years prior to that. There was a guy that I worked with at SAP who was doing real estate at the time. Actually lives in Lowell. Wayne Simmons, who works at Dick Lapine Real Estate.
Yeah.
So I saw what Wayne was doing, and he ended up leaving SAP and doing real estate full time. But while he was there, you know, it kind of piqued my interest.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about getting licensed, how to take. And he's like, oh, it's just it was like a 40-hour course that you could do in 2 days. You know, I think 10 hours each day, and then you can take the exam. So it looked, you know, it was a pretty low entry point at the bar as far as, you know, you don't have to go back to school and take all these classes. So I was like, all right, let me do this and kind of have it as a backup plan.
So you had already done that.
So I'd already done that.
Wow, yeah. That's crazy how things work out.
Right.
Like that.
So, you know, and it was funny when I did that at the time, I was still in customer service. Then I ended up getting another job at the company. So I put real estate on hold.
Yeah.
I kept the license active up until the year before I got laid off.
Of course.
So, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't need this. I haven't used it. And then I get laid off it was February. My license expired the previous July.
So did you have to do it all over again?
No, the good thing is they let you, if it's within a year, you can just pay a late fee. So that was one of the first things I did. I went on to like the mass licensing. I'm like, all right, I got to renew this. I had to take continuing education credits, which pretty much is just, you know, watching some videos, things like that. So I wanted to make sure, you know, I got that taken care of, because if that lapsed through the year, then I would have had to take the classes again and go through the testing, and I don't know if I would have done that. So timing wise and the way everything worked,
that's great.
It worked out pretty well. So I ended up talking to a good friend of mine, Josh, who's the broker and owner of JMJ Commercial Realty. We've been friends since we've been probably about 4 or 5 years old.
Oh my gosh, I was going to ask how you met him. So, that's incredible.
He lived like 2-3 streets over to me. I could walk through my neighbor's backyard and then through another neighbor's backyard to cut through. So we grew up together. We, you know, practically like brothers.
Yeah.
You know, and even as we kind of went our different paths after high school, we still stayed in touch, and we ended up being the best men at each other's weddings.
Wow.
So when this opportunity came up, you know, and I was looking for something else to do, I went to him and said, you know, can you teach me, you know, real estate, commercial real estate? I didn't know anything about commercial real estate. And then we started working together probably 6 months later. And it's been great.
Yeah. That's a great story. That's so funny, because that was one of my questions was, how did you meet him? So from your perspective, like what kind of clients or transactions are the most exciting for you? Like, do you have an example of something that you've done?
Yeah, I mean,
like super exciting?
When I used to think of commercial real estate, I thought of like office buildings.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd worked in an office building for 22 years.
You thought of cubicles.
Right. And I'm like, all right, fine. I'll work with that. And didn't really think of it that everything else, it's not, you know, a house, you know, so any type of business. And those are the I think non-traditional type businesses excite me. And from the beginning, some of the companies that I worked with, it was actually there was a landscaper in Lowell. I helped him purchase a piece of property in Milford, New Hampshire. So that was fun, working with someone in that trade. And then going to look at more like industrial properties.
And you're learning about the industries that you're working for as well, right?
Too. Yeah. It was funny. The first, I think it was a couple weeks in, we went to go see a property in Drake-it. I think it was on Bridge Street. And the place had been abandoned. There were holes in the roof. And I'm walking back there, and, you know, not super nice shoes, but dress shoes. And we're walking almost through like a junkyard. And I'm like, you know, thinking I'm going to step on a piece of metal. Something. And I'm like, what am I doing?
I didn't know this job was going to be so hazardous.
Right. Yeah. But that was exciting. You know, another people in Lowell specifically there was a lot of fun was working with Brandy, who owns the Cat Cafe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it was actually through another member of the Lowell Chamber, Dot Richards.
Everybody knows Dot.
She had came to visit. She was a visitor sub in my B&I group. And she heard what I did. And she goes, oh, you know, I know someone who's looking to open a cat cafe. Is that someone you'd want to be introduced to? And Most people I say cat cafe to, they have no idea what it is. I knew what it was. I'd been to one in New York a couple years prior, so I had an idea. I have cats. I have a dog, a guinea pig, and 2 rats now. It's
wow.
So hopefully, like the Board of Health isn't watching.
So where do you get like the rats from?
They weren't just street rats. They were from a pet store in Westford.
And is it one of your kids?
Yeah. Like, so my son, they stay in his room.
Yeah.
So the cats and rats do not interact. And
no cats and rats hanging out together.
Yeah. So, so with the zoo that we have at our house, and I had the opportunity to work with someone with animals. I was like, that's great, and started working with Brandy and learning about her business and what she was looking for. And we were actually able to find her place fairly quicker than I thought.
It's a great location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right down the street here on Merrimack. And that was a lot of fun, just seeing the space and then seeing what she's turned it into. I think that's one thing that I get, a lot of joy out of is one, just helping people find, their like dream location for their business. And then 2, coming back later and seeing what they've turned it into. Yeah. I don't know if you were in there before when it was the Lowell Lounge.
Yeah, I had never been to the Lowell Lounge.
Yeah, it was really dark, black, cheap leather or pleather furniture, and you go in there now.
It's a home.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's amazing. So I love being able to go back to
That's really
the
fun.
spaces that my clients open and tell, people that I know about it. Everyone I talk to, I'm like, oh, have you been to the cat cafe?
Yeah,
have you been to the cat cafe?
I know. And then you're marketing for her. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, if a restaurant is infested with rats, then they could just call it a rat cafe, and
there you go.
Could be,
wow, there's a new thing
on trend.
Yeah.
Totally kidding. There's none of that happening around here. So we've talked a little bit about networking for somebody who is making a career change. Would you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I think, I think for me, I didn't realize how much networking was going to be involved with this.
Maybe would it have scared you off if you had known? I mean, you're very social. So.
Yeah, it might have a little bit.
Yeah.
I always considered myself an introvert because I think growing up in school and stuff, I was fairly shy.
Yeah.
If I go to a party or a place where I don't know that many people, it's hard to get into those conversations. So I kind of saw networking like that too.
Yeah.
I think it always helps to go and know someone or know someone that can introduce you to people. But I did early on go to some events where I didn't know anyone, and I was nervous beforehand. I'm like, I don't want to go. But then thinking to myself, I'm like, I think what kind of helped me get over that is thinking that everyone there is going to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
So it's not like you're going out to a bar to try to pick someone up,
right?
And like maybe
you're like
75% of people are just there to hang out.
Yeah.
It's like, so everyone is there with the same goal in mind to, talk about their business, to learn about each other's businesses. Yeah. So that helped me, get myself in that mindset.
That's great.
But it's definitely gotten easier the more you do it. As anything, like you just kind of got to work at it.
Yeah, you get more comfortable. And you also then at the point you are now, any room you walk into, you're going to know somebody.
Yeah.
And most
so
likely.
That's the great thing. Yeah. And it seems to happen pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Even just going to the event last week at the farmer's market, going there and then ran into, there weren't a ton of people there, but I probably knew at least 5 people.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So it's easy enough to go up, even if they're talking to someone else, that you can kind of go in and they can introduce you. And
it's great.
But yeah, I mean, the advice would just be, just go for it.
Yeah.
But also I think if you're interested in joining this chamber or any other chamber, to reach out to you, and, you had introduced me to Virginia. So that was great. And then Virginia had introduced me to someone, and that person, and then, it just kind of snowballs down like that.
I met with a couple on Monday that had been to the farmer's market, a referral from Virginia Parker Timmons. And then they said, oh, I met with Adam. I'm like, that's awesome. I love these stories. Yeah. Like, this is why we do what we do.
Yeah. And it's great because I didn't know anything about chambers of commerce. I'd heard about them before, but never having my own business or having to get my own clients.
Right.
Just there was no need for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's great to know that there are organizations like this.
And every organization is different too. Like they all have a different, we all have a different feel, kind of a different culture, I guess. So like check out multiple organizations. I mean, you're involved in many networking groups.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one, the Merrimack Valley Chamber, the Charles River Chamber. I'm actually going to an event there. They have their Needham night.
Oh, awesome. Oh, that's fun.
So they usually do that with some of the different towns. I think they had a Newton night a while ago. And,
see, they have the end, so it flows.
Yeah, right.
We don't have
we could
any.
have Lowell night.
I know. I mean, it sounds kind of cool, but not as good if it was like Noel night.
Right. So I don't get down there as much just because living up in this area.
Yeah.
And then some of their, they do once a month, they do a coffee connect
at
8:30 in the morning, and, traffic from
that's
here to get down to there.
Get there for coffee.
So I try to get to some more of the afternoon or evening things.
That's great.
Yeah. But it's, I think definitely anywhere that you do business in or want to do business in, it's good to check out the chambers in those areas.
That's a great point, because we'll have some people that'll call and say, we're from Nashua, or can we join your chamber? And we say, absolutely. Like, definitely check out the chamber in your area. We're not trying to take away from those chambers, but if you want to do business in this area, and it's a great area to do business, join our chamber.
Definitely.
So you're a very creative guy.
Yeah.
So when you're not doing the real estate thing, what are some other things that kind of, fuel you and make you who you are?
So I've been a musician since I've been 8.
Wow.
I was going to say, no, it's more than 30 years.
It's crazy how that happens.
Yeah, exactly. So I've always had music, started playing in bands in school, and then even afterwards, original bands in high school and college, and after college tried to, kind of make it. You
sound like my
music.
brother. My brother had a very similar path.
And it was really exciting, and I find music's a great way to meet people, whether you're doing it in school or outside. And I think for me, kind of being shy, that was that thing that kind of helped me, meet other people. So I've always enjoyed doing that. Right now, I still have a jazz quartet.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah. So I play, main instrument's the saxophone.
Yeah.
And I play with my dad. He's a keyboard player. He's a big inspiration for me playing music growing up, and it was always nice having someone there to play with.
Great.
So we have a quartet with he does piano, I do sax, and we have a bass player and a drummer, and we occasionally play. We actually have a gig coming up for a wedding in Boston on August 31st. It's a cruise out of the Boston Harbor Hotel.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
They're getting married on the boat. My dad's playing the ceremony music, and then we're doing like cocktail hour and dinner music afterwards.
Well, that's great.
Yeah,
how fun.
So that's been really good.
Yeah.
And then I found that as it was a lot harder to do music once having kids, and being out more, and
they require a lot of time. No one told us that, right?
They do. So I'd always kind of been looking for something to kind of fill that creative gap. And one of the positive things to come out of COVID for me, I was working at home, still at the software company. I was doing a fellowship in the communications department. And I had this project to create, some type of information on this new internal software product that was coming out. And, people had done, PowerPoints or meetings or things like that. And I always had an interest making videos. And I always tell people that if I was still in the office, if we weren't working at home, I would have just got someone else to be on camera, to be the talent, because I don't always like being on.
Yeah.
Here I am on camera now.
You seems like you're always going out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. So I'm looking around. I'm sitting there. I had a desk underneath our stairs. I would call it like the Harry Potter area.
Gosh.
Because if we all thought, I was like, oh, it's only going to be a couple weeks.
Right. Joke's on us.
So I was sitting at this little, I think it was my daughter's desk with a wooden chair. And I looked up and we had this puppet sitting on a shelf. And the puppet had glasses, balding, he had like a jacket or suit type thing on. And I thought, I'm like, he looks like someone that would work at a software company. And I'm like, what if I use him, in this video to talk about this new software product? So the premise of the video was one of those like infomercial type things where it's like, oh, this is the old way you do it. And he's there banging his head. And he's like, now here's the new way, and he's all happy and smiling. So I put that out at work, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, this is a big, like, Fortune 500, whatever, big worldwide company. And I'm like, how are people going to react to a puppet in a video? And the woman I was working with saw it. She's like, oh, no, this is great.
Did you submit it and you're like, I don't know if I want to do this?
I would. Yeah. Because I was like, I don't want people to laugh at me.
Right.
I still want to be taken somewhat professionally serious. But it worked out really
Oh,
well.
that's great.
And it led to doing other stuff with this puppet for work. And then I think within that same year, I started recording puppet videos with my brother-in-law, who had a similar type puppet. They're like Muppet style.
Yeah.
And we're like, let's just, put the camera on like this. And, we're under the desk. So you just see the puppets. And we just started talking about whatever and started putting videos out on YouTube and, had so much fun doing it. Never thought it would really go any further than that. And then during COVID as well, I was at the Chelmsford Library. I knew this librarian there who did a story time, and she did it on Facebook Live because we couldn't have kids coming in then. And I went to her and I said, "Oh, would you like to have a puppet come on and do the stories with you?" And she's like, "Oh, that's great." She loved the Muppets and started doing that. So then I started doing puppets at the library.
Oh my gosh. Was this upping your street cred with your kids at this point? Did they
Not
like
really?
Dan
I feel
and
like
the
they were
puppet,
still. I would record stuff at home and they'd be like, kind of rolling their eyes and, because I would do the voices and, sometimes try to talk to them and they wouldn't. Yeah. So yeah, they
like,
were,
come
they
down
were not
from your room, like with the puppet, like
right.
in the boat. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd wake up my kids in the morning for school, like with the puppet,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
like touching them with the R and yeah, so they got sick of it pretty quick. But then doing stuff at the library, then that led to, other opportunities. Right now we do like an hour program of a puppet story time and puppet making.
My gosh.
So we do story time and a craft. We've done that at the Chelmsford Library. We've done it at some preschools. We're going to be at the Woburn Library. I think it's August 21st or 22nd, doing a program there. Cool. So something that kind of started off as, just doing this for fun has kind of turned into sort of a side job.
Side gig. That's great.
And I actually started working with a puppet theater out of Lunenburg. Everyone knows there's the Drawbridge Puppet Theater was there for about 20 years. Yeah. I had taken my kids there years before I got into puppets, and they'd sent out an email looking for backup puppeteers one year. And I'm reading this email, and I'm like, I go to my wife, I'm like, should I call? She's like, yeah, go see what it is. And it was funny. I remember calling up the guy, and I'm like, do you need a resume? And I had sent him some videos of stuff we'd done online. He's like, no. He's like, I think you got it covered. But I had to go in and do kind of like an interview, a tryout.
Oh my gosh.
So I do some work with that puppet theater.
That's great. Good for you.
Yeah.
Look at how you've transformed and innovated over the past 5 years.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
So it's been a lot of fun and to be able to have this job where I can kind of make my own hours and have a flexible schedule still allows me to do, other fun things like that and pursue that, where if I felt like I was at a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, it wouldn't be as, I don't know if I could go to my boss and be like, hey, can I get half a day off to go do puppets?
What's the puppet's name?
The main puppet's name is Norm.
So me and Norman need to take a half day. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then Norman's like, please.
Right. But yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. And Norm was actually on a podcast that I did. It was a networking podcast.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. Where I wasn't planning to, and I've always kind of been a little hesitant of bringing it into, this job, just because, I don't want to be like a laughing stock, but I also, want to be taken seriously and dealing with businesses. So it kind of depends on who I'm talking with and what it is.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Bring it into. But it is fun, and it's one of those fun things that, a good conversation piece as well, because most people haven't met a puppeteer.
Yeah.
I never had, so.
And here you are.
Yeah, and here I am doing this. So, so
that's great.
That definitely keeps up a lot of my time when I'm not doing real estate.
Yeah, it's good to have creative avenues, and the fact that you're able to kind of like make a little bit of money from it too is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, someday I might start networking with the puppets.
There we go. We could do a whole networking thing around. We have to talk.
Okay.
Figure something out. Something fun. We're always looking to do fun and innovative things.
Yeah. So. I was thinking about having him doing like a podcast talk show.
Yeah.
So maybe he could interview people, or if you need a co-host sometime.
Yes, that would be so fun. I would love that. All right. Sign us up.
All right.
Is there anything else you want the listeners or the viewers to know about you, working with you?
Yeah. I mean, I think I do a lot of work with small businesses. I think what I found over the past 2 years of doing this is a lot of times for the listings that we have, whether it's a lease or a sale, a lot of people will find stuff on LoopNet. That's a popular site, and they'll go out there, they'll see our information, they'll call us. So they're not necessarily working with an agent that's representing them either as a tenant or as a buyer. And I enjoy working with a lot of these, small businesses. A lot of times, someone that's new getting into this might not know anything about, a commercial lease or the terminology or things like that. So I enjoy helping people through that. So if anyone has any questions, and because I didn't know any of this stuff until I started. So I think it's definitely important to have someone, representing you on that side.
Have your interest.
If you don't know what you're doing. So if there's any small businesses, people in the area that have any questions or, want to talk about that, work with a lot of people that are looking to buy that maybe have been leasing for a while.
Yeah.
Started working with a woman actually in Lowell that been leasing and, got to the point where she doesn't want to pay someone else the money.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, you can almost, get the same price, and not realize that, I could be paying this amount of rent instead as a mortgage instead. So talk to a lot of people that do that, and
it's great.
Try to educate.
So, well, we'll put your contact information when we post the podcast. So that'll all be out there in the universe for people to find.
Great.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was fun. We'll have you back on again. We'll have Norm join you, and we'll think of some fun stuff we can do together.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Danielle.
And thank you all for tuning in to another really fun, different edition of Chamber Chat. We will be back again very soon. Thank you so much.